everyone, I'm Dottie. I'm stitching Scotty, and this is Winston. And we're here with Flosstube number 175 with our StitchCon recap and our annex tour. I've also got what little bit of stitching I got done at StitchCon to show you. A free pattern, lots of table gifts, smalls, exchanges, and talk about the auction. So, and ringing the bell, all these things that happen at StitchCon. So, hopefully we'll have a good time today. And of course, Striker, my other Scotty, he has to tell you about some things too. So just join us tonight and get something to drink and something to eat. And I just want to thank you so much for letting me share my love of cross stitch with you, and for all being my stitchy friends. And for those of you that have just found me, I hope you enjoy my videos. I do have a Keepsakes shop tour several videos back, and I will link that below. Also, it was great fun to go to StitchCon and meet some of my viewers. Everybody was so sweet and so kind. I really appreciate it. I had the most fun ever. And I was glad to meet some fellow floss tubers and renew friendships with a couple of them. I got to meet a couple of designers I hadn't met. And I also got to meet the editor of Just Cross Stitch magazine, Barbie. They had a meeting there at StitchCon, and it was a lot of fun. We shared a lot of good ideas, and hopefully you will see a lot of improvements in the magazine, and even maybe some online improvements too. The best parts of StitchCon I will talk about later when I finish my StitchCon recap. But right now I want to show you some of my StitchCon stitching. So fun, fun, fun. I rang the bell twice, and when we talk about ringing the bell, that's when you have a finish. Is you get to go up in front of everyone and hold up your piece, and you ring the bell and everybody claps and cheers. So that's always good. The first thing I rang the bell with is one of the things in our 12 Days of Christmas Stockings by Annie Beez Folk Art. Karen, the Stitching Owl, and I are co-hosting a SAL or stitch along of this. And it's the 12 Days of Christmas Stockings. And of course there's 12 stockings. And you get the book and you just start stitching. Karen's stitching hers on blue. Then she's got a white set, a set on white, and then she's got a set on black. So mine are just on black. You don't necessarily have to stitch on black. There was one lady there, and hers was on perforated paper, and they were beautiful. She already had 2 finished, and I hadn't even finished my 1. So I was bound and determined that I was going to finish the first one. So I got the black even weave out of my stash. And this is my number 1 stocking, the first day of Christmas, finished on 28 count linen, even weave linen. And I used DMC flosses. I did not use the beads in the number 1 or on the bird. And I haven't decided exactly what kind of little fun finishy items. I've not gotten that far yet. But hopefully I can get some finished, but I'm using 2 strands over 2, and this went really fast. I mean, really, really good. I think I stitched on it like, maybe I sat down 3 different times, you know, with what little bit of time I had and stitched, but I had started it before I went to StitchCon, but it does go really fast. Isn't that pretty? So be sure and join our SAL, and if you do, it's hashtag 12 days of stocking SAL, and I will link that below. And also tag Stitching Scotty, which is myself, and the Stitching Owl, Karen, at the.stitchingowl, and we'd love to see your progress. Just join in. Annie the Proper Stitcher, the Bourgeois Stitchers are joining us. Well, I just went blank after that. I know there's a bunch more joining us, and I really appreciate it. So we look forward to seeing your progress. Can't talk today. And I also look forward to seeing your finishes. So hopefully if you do 2 a month, you'll have them done by November or December. If not, you can just start it and enjoy it. So this is Annie B's Folk Art. Okay, the next thing I finished, so that was one bell ringing. The next thing I rang the bell with was the Elizabeth Garrod 1799 sampler from Hats, Hands Across the Sea samplers. And I changed several things. One of the things I learned is do not try to change a graph when you're at StitchCon because you will mess up. So I did, but I ripped out the date like 3 times and I decided to change the name to my aunt's name. She was my godmother. This is on 36 count Edinburgh linen. I'm not exactly sure about the color. I used Bourgeois number 647, and this is what I've got done. It's a complete finish. Now, if you'll notice, my little thing over here I shortened because I wanted it the same size as this. And this was empty because I miscounted here. So I went ahead and just made another one of these down here when I put the name and the date. And I put Dorothy Zora Bentley, and her birth date was June 28th, 1918. And the reason I made this is because my youngest daughter named our first granddaughter after my Aunt Dot, who was like a grandmother to her. So this will be very special to them. So I'm going to take it to the framer as soon as I can and get this framed. And I'm using one strand. I used one strand of the Bourgeois, and it's color number 647. So there's a finish. And I rang the bell again. Excuse me. I meant to bring me something to drink, and I didn't. The hotel was really dry. We stayed right by the convention center, and it was really nice. But I noticed every day it was drier and drier, which was good, you know, but still, whew, yeah. Okay. So then, after I rang the bell twice, and I will say that everybody at our table had a finish. So that was good. Some of them didn't go up and ring the bell because they just didn't want to stand in front of everybody and, you know, ring the bell. So, but that's okay. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. So the works in progress that I took to work on, because I took like 4 projects. The other one, of course, was my Lord's Prayer sampler from Stoney Creek. All right. And this is on a piece of 32 count linen. And I got a little bit more done. This is what I've got done so far. I finished, oops, let's do this. Okay, I finished the rest of this part of the border. And then I started this little border here, and I finished up this with the little flowers. I finished the tip of this, and I started one of the letters, and that's all I got done. But hopefully I'll get all this done this week. I hope, because it's a lot of words. It'll say, give us this day our daily bread. But isn't this just really pretty? I just love the colors, and it just looks, I don't know, it's kind of a classic, very timeless. And I'm using 2 strands of DMC over 2. I'm using espresso here for the lettering. And that's from, not espresso, excuse me. I'm using, instead of espresso from DMC, I'm using the Weeks Dye Works Swamp Water. So, and I'm on my 2nd skein. So, but hopefully she'll really like this, and it'll be done hopefully before the year's out, surely. Whew. I want to get this done as quick as I can and get this framed and get it to her. So that will be really nice. Okay, and then the other one I'm doing, I want to hurry up and get done because I have borrowed this pattern from someone because I've looked everywhere and could not find it because it's out of print. This is the Victorian's House number 9 from Judith Kirby. And if you've watched my Flosstube before, you've seen this, and you know I enjoy Halloween. And while I was talking to somebody at StitchCon, we decided that I would leave out this line border because I'm also going to put another piece onto it that's going to have little trick-or-treaters, which is house number 13. And I'll show you that when I get that started. But isn't that pretty? Okay, so this came from my stash, this piece of linen. I know it is a piece of Zweigart something. I just do not know what. So I didn't get a lot at StitchCon done on this one because I took this to late night stitching and it was a little lively and I only got to go one night. I got some of the posts done and this post done, some of the pickets done in that post, and that's all I got done at the late night stitching. It's 2 strands over 2 mostly. Now all this green here, the really dark, is 3 strands over 2. Then I also used 2 strands over 2, and then I did half crosses here with the same color, and it was 1 strand over 2 with a half cross. But I just think that's so, I don't know, I just love it. It's spooky. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Beautiful's not a good word for it. Spooky, yes, it is. So anyway, that was my stitching for the week, and I'd said I wasn't going to do a Flosstube, you know, this week, but this one's going to be late. It was going to be late, so I could, but I just couldn't wait to tell you about StitchCon because I was so excited. It gets better and better every year. They just outdo themselves. The people were so nice. Everybody was just wonderful. And what I'm going to do is, first of all, I want to thank, many thanks to Barbara and her staff. Her family and her staff, because her family even helped. Her husband drove the Stitchy bus, which you rode to Keepsakes and back. Excuse me. Her son ran the cash register, and oh, he was a lot of fun. You just wanted to go check out over and over again just so you could get to talk to him. I think that's why she puts him up there. And but they worked, and Stephanie and Pam and Susan and Barb, and because there's Barbara and then there's a Barb, and then I think it was either Kay or Kate, I'm not sure. She roller skated around the place, just getting orders to people, and there's others I can't even remember their names because it was just so busy, you know, and everybody was going everywhere, but they were all very, very, very helpful. This was a huge event, and they had to work hours and hours and hours extra, and they really just made this an overwhelming success. But this year was extra special because we were able to give back to the community in beds for sleepyheads, and they had an auction, and they auctioned off several things. And at the auction, in weekend A, they raised $31,000. In weekend B, which is the one I went to, they raised $38,000. That's a total of $69,000 for this organization in their community to give back, which will buy 275 beds for people that have jobs, but they are still sleeping on the floor because they can't make enough money to have furniture in their homes, or, you know, their furniture has just fallen apart and they can't afford to replace it. And it was just heart-wrenching to hear some of the stories that Barbara had to tell. And it just must have touched everyone's hearts because they freely gave. And I just couldn't believe it. Barbara was in tears. She really was, because she was so thankful and just overwhelmed by all the generosity of everyone there. So I just want to thank everyone that gave. And if you didn't give, there's always next year, or you can always mail a check, you know, to Keepsakes for the fundraiser for that. Okay. So now, and they had really good auction prizes. They had a mirabilia that was stitched and framed, which you will see a picture of later in the, well, I might insert it here. And then they also had a shepherd's bush photo. not photo. They also had a shepherd's bush piece that was fully stitched and framed, and it was beautiful. And they auctioned off entire collections of silks, Weeks Dye Works, Belsois, and I mean, it was just unbelievable, some of the things, and fabric, and just all kinds of things, and even patterns. And I just happened to get some of the patterns. I got the entire, well, not the entire, but I got the current Liz Matthews collection that they had, and I will show you those patterns here. All right, pattern number 1 is Berry Patch by Liz Matthews. Isn't that bunny cute? Then we have My Home in the Garden. We have Clara Hanson. Hang on. Isn't that gorgeous? Winter Garden. These are not in any specific order. A Buzz at Midnight. I looked at this one in the shop, and or in the annex, and I was like, boy, that sure is cute. I'd like to stitch that. So now I can. Then Garden Side Sampler and Tree. I looked at this one too, and something told me to have restraint, so I did. And now look. And then Spring House. Isn't that gorgeous? Poppy. Some of these will end up to be giveaways because there's no way I can stitch all of these. And Sleepy Hollow, and you know I love Halloween. And then Remember Me Sampler and Tree, and I thought this was really, really cute. I haven't finished my first tree, so I don't know if I'll do a tree. Then we have Homespun Hearts, Butterfly Cloche, Gifts from My Garden. I thought this was precious. Isn't that gorgeous? It just looks so real. You could just pluck it off the picture. 10th Day of Christmas Sampler and Tree. And it's 2 patterns. You can either do the tree or you can do the one where Santa Claus is kicking up his heels. And let me tell you, this was really cute. I got to see every one of these finished. And I mean, the patterns say, I mean, the samples sell. They really do. This is Autumn Cloche, Cottontail, another bunny. And see, she's got a light one and a dark one. And this one's precious. Boo, Forget Me Not. And I do love Forget Me Not flowers. You've Got the Love. Isn't that pretty? And you can make this any color on any fabric that you want to do. The Pumpkin House. And there's that one. I think this one came out last year. And it's on 2 separate pieces of fabric. I mean, wow, that's a lot of patterns. So that was in the auction, and I got those. So be looking for some of those to be auctioned off. To be giveaways when I get 2,000 subscribers. We're almost there. I think we like about 107 or 127, something like that. It's not many. So if you haven't subscribed, let's go ahead and subscribe so we can have a big giveaway. Okay, then after that, and then there was a raffle, and we bought tickets and things, and it also went to, for charity. And they gave away a free retreat for next year. That was your plane fare or car fare, whatever. They paid mileage if you drove a car, paid for your hotel, plus the retreat fee. I mean, what a great prize. And there were baskets, and one of my table mates, June, won a basket, and it was so cute. And then one of my table mates, Delnora, won a keepsake gift card, and she also got the tomato that started all the bed bidding and gave it back to Keepsakes, which I thought was great. And thank you, Delnora, and all the ones that bought, that contributed toward the beds. We really, really appreciate that. It was just, it was unbelievable. Okay, now let's get the free pattern this week. This one is different. This one is from Victoria's Sampler. And this one is the 2024 free pattern of the month. It says Sun and Summer Fun. Unlock this month's free pattern, which is June Cottage. There's no purchase necessary, and I'm going to link it below. There is also a Facebook group where you can get on and chat about the pattern. And here is the pattern. Isn't that pretty? Okay. And there's exchange tips. There's even a place where you can download free patterns of 2024 if you've missed any of those. So, enjoy. All right. And Victoria's Sampler has some beautiful, beautiful patterns. And they're not all sampler patterns. They've got, butterflies and things. And they've got a thing now. If you buy $35 or more, you get a link to another free pattern, and there's 6 to collect, and they're doing that for 6 weeks. They give you a code and you can download it. So be sure and get over there. So without further ado, I'm going to put in a video of the brag table, because there were some beautiful, beautiful items there. And I know I'm doing a lot of talking, but there was a lot going on that you needed to know about. So here's the brag table.